I'm more excited than normal because today is the day. We are going to test some sensors, turn the key, and see if this is going to start. Hopefully, maybe we pray about it, it will start. There are a ton of videos on how this thing went together, and if you haven't checked them out, this video might be a little obscure to you, but there is still some cool stuff in here because what we're going to be doing is checking if I have it wired properly. We're going to be testing outputs and so on. And then after that stuff checks out, we're going to start this thing. So let's dig into getting this thing tested out and ready to go. We know we have the IAC all configured and wired in and mounted and all that good stuff. So what I want to do is see if it actually responds. So if I go into this CAN bus, test modes is actually what I want to be in. It's under the same drop down. If I go way down to the bottom here and I look at it, I have my pulse width modulated one activated, and you can change this number 0. You can move it up to whatever you want with these arrows, wherever you want it. Anyways, all I need to do is I need to hit this enable test run, and then we will swing over to the actual valve and you'll be able to hear it. So we hit the enable test, and if we look over here now, we can hear that that valve is running. Hopefully you can hear it. I'm just going to unplug it and you can hear the difference. So we know that it is actually responding to the test. Ready to start. Super cool. We have this test modes, which you would have seen in other videos because I did test the IAC. So if you want to check that out, it's in the other video right there. But what I want to do is I want to go into the injector and spark test mode. So what I'm going to look at, first of all, I'm going to enable the test mode. And then I am going to, now I can pick whatever coil I want to fire. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with number 1A. I'm setting that up, and then we'll just stop it, go over to the engine, and I'll get that set up, and we can take a look as we hit the test. This is my number 1 coil, coil A, and if I can get it off the plug. Okay, so all I have is a spare extra old junk plug that I keep around for this purpose. And I can ground it on here, ground it wherever I can, which isn't being happy right now. Yeah, that'll work. I'm not sure if you can see in the spark there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to hit the test mode and we'll look for spark here. So I'm hitting the start. And as you can see, we have a really nice looking spark. If I had a problem where this thing after it starts is missing or whatever, I could take all those wires off and change this into a sequence. But I am at 1 with A, and here's all you have to do is to start the spark. You hit start. In the background, I can hear it. Hit stop. All right, we will be moving on to the injector testing. Now, I have this also injector number 1 and in 1 mode, and all I am going to be doing is, I'm not sure if anyone knows what this is, but this is a NOID light. It is meant to test the power to the injector. So we'll get over there and hook this up. Okay, just so I don't forget to do it, I am just going to plug that back in, unplug my injector, put the NOID light in, and same as the other one, the other test, all I have to do, actually this is different. Let's go back over to the laptop. Okay, so the injectors uses the same wiring, the same relay. They're turned on with the fuel pump. So in order for me to actually test the injector, I need to, if I hit start, we'll do that and take a look real quick. I'll hit start without the fuel pump on. So I'm going to hit start and we'll take a look over there. If we go straight over, we can see that nothing is happening with the NOID light. I am going to start that injector and then turn the fuel pump on this screen. And I am assuming, am I correct, that there's flashing, my daughter?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So I can turn the pump off and the injector off. So just to refresh, you could do it either way. Turn the pump on and then start the test and stop it, or you could start the test, turn the pump on, that'll fire the injectors up and stop it. If you have the injectors wired where it isn't in conjunction with the fuel pump, you don't have to worry about the fuel pump. In this case, we do. I have the laptop set up here. I have the engine in front of me. We're all hooked up. And I'm missing one thing. Oh, but look, I have my important little helper inside. She is going to turn the key. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey. So what I'm going to get you to do, Murray, is I want you to turn the key, but I'm also going to get you to work the throttle because we don't even know if the VE is even close in this thing. We did set up the VE generator, and I'll show you where that is. If we are going to try and get something close, we can enter a bunch of parameters in here. And if you go into fuel settings and we go into our VE table 1, this is where we're going to use, and we run into the tools, we can actually take the VE generator. And I just grabbed some numbers offline to get this thing roughed in. And I actually have higher horsepower and torque numbers than I expect. The reason why is my VE is going to be higher, and I am going to be tuning from rich. I want it richer than expected, and I'd rather go lean than have something lean and tune the opposite way. So what we're going to do is I am going to be watching the gauges while we crank this over. All right. Do you want to turn it over? Okay, that's a really good sign. And our oil pressure, like if you look, we have some of our tattletales here. So we can see that we had timing move, we had RPM move, we had fuel pressure up to where we wanted. And if you looked, we had oil pressure, all that kind of stuff. So I am going to take over the throttle, I think, here, if we can have that happen again. I just gotta switch hands. Okay, go ahead. Try it again. And again. Try it again. Go for it again. Okay, just hang on. Just hang on. I was having a hard time getting this started, and I realized that I didn't have the IAC plugged in. So we're going to try it again and see what it does. Go for it again. Okay, try it again. Try it again. All right, I am looking at my air-fuel ratio and everything, and I am going to have to do some tuning on this before we do any more because it isn't going to idle on its own. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to go in and we are going to deal with the fuel settings and that VE table. I'm going to rough it in. Fuel settings, VE table, and I'm just going to rough this in so that we can get this thing idling on its own. The VE table is not set real well. We couldn't pull good vacuum with this or anything. And I fought a bunch more with it, but this engine has mechanical problems. The valves were way too tight. So I had to do a lot of messing around to get it to where I could even get it to run. This is the next day. I'm going to see what it'll start like cold. Hopefully it will go, but it is idling. It's just noisy and low on compression on some cylinders, but we'll see. So we have a cam fault here. I know that when it idles down, ended up, this goes away. The reason that it's going on is we have mechanical problems. Once I had it idled and warmed up, this is going away. So once the engine's rebuilt, that won't be an issue anymore. It is doing what it's supposed to do. So we have our duty steps that it started, that it was idling high, and we have our target, and this is just roughed out, but you can see that as it warms up, the idle is going to come down. Now once this engine gets back and we get this tuned properly, this we will definitely be modifying to be a bit nicer of a table, but you can see that the engine speed's coming down, and that was a cam fault glitch that it keeps kind of doing, and it's because our fuel settings, if we look at our VE table, they're way out to lunch. So I've been messing with this. I'll mess with it more, but really this tune is just to get it in and out of the shop. But you'll notice that the cam fault goes away at a certain part of the table, and it does that weird, goes to the batch fire, just like that. So anyway, we'll take a look under the hood. Okay, it is running now, and it's warmed up to the point where the cam fault isn't in effect anymore. This is going to be a good enough tune that we'll be able to get it in and out of the body shop. They'll be able to drive it in and out. The IAC motor had quite a hum to it. It was really annoying, and so we changed the frequency on that. And otherwise, I mean, this thing is going to be good. Can't wait to get it sent down and get the engine rebuilt. That's going to be pretty exciting to be putting this back together. So if you haven't checked it out already, check out all the other videos on how this went together, as well as there's going to be a whole bunch more coming. This is going to be out of our hair now for a few months at the body shop, getting the car tweaked straight, and then we'll be back at it. And so look forward to seeing those. If you don't mind, please like, share, and subscribe.